welcome to our latest edition of Mixed Tag Mayhem. I'm Tom. I'm with social media editor Kimberly, and
Hey.
So our first topic of the day, we're in the middle of the Mae Young Classic, the 2018 Mae Young Classic, and we have a new crop for this year. A lot of them tied over from the year's tournament, but we have some new fresh faces here. So, what have you seen, and what do you think of the bracket so far?
Well, I haven't paid too close attention to it yet because the Mae Young Classic is not actually going to hit the network until Wednesday, September 5th. It's going to air after NXT.
I guess we can talk about the participants.
Yeah, definitely. One of the ones that I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how she's going to do is Casey Catanzaro. If any of you are familiar with American Ninja Warrior, she was a complete badass on that show. And then made the leap from doing the Ninja Warrior stuff to get signed by the WWE. I think about a year ago, I think she actually signed with them, but she hasn't done any TV spots for them yet. She has been doing some NXT live shows in the area, but I don't know that she's actually been on NXT TV. But she is participating in the Mae Young Classic, and I'm really interested to see how she does.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, aside from participating on like a reality type show, there really isn't that much more that you can do aside from other reality shows. I mean, we could do, I guess, The Amazing Race, Survivor.
Sure.
I don't really know any other athletic type reality shows, but hey, she is technically almost following in the footsteps of another former reality star that became a pro wrestler, which, no, I'm not talking about The Miz because there's nothing athletic about the real world, but I'm talking about Rico Constantino, who actually had a stint in WWE. You remember him?
The name sounds familiar, but refresh my memory.
Yeah, I think he was actually on American Gladiators.
Okay.
And not that long afterward, he was signed by WWE. I mean, it was kind of a leap on there, but American Ninja Warrior is kind of on a higher profile network like an NBC, whereas American Gladiators during its heyday was primarily a syndicated show. But, a lot of people who grew up watching it, like myself, remember all different sorts of contests and everything, which, honestly, it was more like an NFL training camp aside from the game Assault, which, all that Gladiator does is shoot ping pong, it's tennis balls while the contestant tries to run the gamut and tries to take him out or finish the obstacle course. But it was a lot of fun to watch. And, I mean, I hope nothing but the biggest success for her and hope she transitions well. And
yeah, with her background's more in gymnastics than it is actually doing any of a physical I don't want to say a combat because that's not exactly what I'm trying to say, but I don't believe she has any wrestling background or
fitness.
any.
Well, I mean, neither did. I don't think Rico did either, but essentially, when you're kind of one of those things of athletic prowess, then, you're kind of being built on it. And, I mean, hell, not to go off too much of a tangent here, but some female action stars, they were predominantly in ballet. So, I mean, if it translates on the screen, why not, right? Just take your biggest strengths and put it into good use.
Pro wrestling is a performance art. Don't let anybody tell you any different. It is. Right. I mean, it's, they've got to do things choreographed too, just the same way, a dancer does. So, yeah, trust me, and don't let anybody tell you dancing isn't a sport either, because I did it for a number of years, and yeah. I work
So,
my butt off too.
another name that popped out for me, which I don't know if it's a kind of a one-off deal or if it's kind of a similar type of return. We have Caitlyn,
Yes.
who was in the company and then she took a break off and now she's back for this turn. Do you think it's kind of a one-off thing, or do you think like Mickie James, she's gonna come back and participate in like a full-time capacity?
You know what? I don't know. I mean, they're really trying to expand the women's division, and with the upcoming Evolution pay-per-view, that I think they're really going to want to capitalize on all of the women that they can, and showcase as much of the women's talent as possible. For her to stick around, I think would be great.
Right.
If she's got the experience. So, experience in the locker room goes a long way with any sport. So, I'd like to see that happen.
One of the things I am seeing that's interesting, which I hope they do expand internationally with, with they have the UK tournament program. I hope to see more international homes for talent, like maybe an Asian contingent. We'll have maybe a WWE Japan or China or something. If they can have base operations in England, why not, right?
Oh, absolutely.
This serves as an antipatus for that.
Sure. I mean, I think that's something that Triple H, I think, would really look into doing. I think he is trying to make this a global company. They're doing the pay-per-views in Saudi Arabia and Australia. They've done their stuff. They tour the world. They don't do it as much as, they probably like to, because there's only 52 weeks in a year, and these people are on the road 52 weeks a year.
Well, honestly, given how much they tour internationally, regional coverage could help sell the network overseas, and there's a lot of global streaming services out there that are licensed differently. Like, for example, like Star Trek Discovery, right? It's in North America, it's CBS All Access, but internationally, it's Netflix. So,
that's interesting.
I'm just kind of wondering if it's veering towards that direction. They did actually air Greatest Royal Rumble on the network as well, but and
they're going to do the same in Australia in a couple of weeks. So.
Right. So as far as the likelihood of some of the names, I know Casey Catanzaro is in a development contract.
Right.
I'm not sure about Caitlyn's status aside from participating in a tournament. There are two other names maybe familiar stateside, and if you follow independent scene and lower ones, there's Ashley Rain, Madison, and Impact Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Sienna, I think. Forgot what her real name is.
I'm trying to
It's Allison Kay. Allison Kay was known as Sienna in Impact Wrestling. So, do you think that they're clearly not under contract to Impact Wrestling since they kind of shuffle contracts around and everything, and they've kind of been in the company for a while. Do you think that WWE will just put them up in NXT all the same? I know in the very least that, they got quite accomplished careers there, and I believe, I'm not sure if Sienna won the Impact Women's Championship, but she does have a background in Shimmer. I think. She's a two-time Knockouts champion, so, like some other talents like Bobby Roode, AJ Styles, we're seeing more Impact talents coming up there. I don't know if it'll translate to the female talents as well.
Maybe, but if you look back to last year's Mayhem Classic, is that a handful of them did end up in NXT, but a handful of them didn't.
Tessa Blanchard, I think she's mainly in Impact now, but she did use the Mayhem Classic as a platform to kind of get a name out.
Right. I'd like to see the NXT crew get a boost with this tournament, because I think since they called up so many of the NXT ladies over the past year, in the Riot Squad, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, and recently the Iconics, that I think the NXT card is getting a little weak, when it comes to the women's division. I mean, there's no stopping Shayna Baszler. That woman is a beast. Love her. And Kairi Sane won the Mae Young Classic last year, and she has done very well in NXT. But there's a handful of other ladies that
I'm kind of curious when they're officially going to bring up Kairi Sane, because, I mean, I just figured that she's kind of hit that brick wall already, and I don't really know if there's anything more for her to do in NXT.
Yeah, but
I know she came from an injury, but...
Yeah. But I also don't think they want to pull too many from that division in NXT right now. 'Cause look what they're doing with Nikki Cross. Personally, I think what they're doing with Nikki Cross is better for her, but she's agreed to do it. That, the Sanity guys that she had been with in NXT are on the main roster right now, but she is not. And the reason that they pulled her, or kept her back, was because of the women's division. They wanted her to stay strong in the women's division in NXT. And that's great, but she's also been doing house shows on the SmackDown card, which, so she's been on the road, she's got a taste of the road and taste of the main roster, but she hasn't been on mainstream TV yet, so.
Well, I mean, there already be shows technically on WWE that they film when SmackDown and Raw on, like Main Event and 205 Live. But I figured, one of the main benefits, if they could, I mean, I don't really know I don't think any women are any women really featured on Main Event or 205 Live? I don't believe so, right?
No.
So if you get a third show and you get like a female-centric show, I don't see why not. Hell, I would even make that female-centric show maybe a taping in a house show. I mean, give the fans something a little separate, and rather than just more of the rinse and repeat, something extra. I mean, it's something to consider. I mean, yeah, it would expand out you could pretty much take the NXT like film crew and everything, or just something to maybe give them a little bit extra.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's speculating about how the Women's Revolution has been going over the past couple of years, and yeah, they have the new pay-per-view that's going to be taking place in October, and people are saying, oh, well, we need a women's tag team, and we need a women's this. I'm actually waiting for them to do a women's show that would be exclusive to the network, something similar to, I mean, Glow on Netflix is a huge success, and I think barring off of that success, I think they could do a women's only show on the network, and I think it would be successful.
Also, given that Fox Sports is running SmackDown, there's like also smaller outlets there that could also run the women's show if they wanted to.
Sure, yeah, with Fox's plethora of networks under their hood, sure.
Yeah. So, as like any other returnees, like there's also Mercedes Martinez. Mm-hmm. I think Maya Yim was, I believe there last year, and Toni Storm has been talked about a whole lot. I mean, do you see any, like, who do you think would be the favorites coming out of this in this tournament? I think Toni Storm might actually be the easy choice on it, but it's kind of, I think that her star is shines very shiningly, very brightly. But I mean, it's great that there's a lot of international talent, but I don't really see how much of I don't really see him putting like a strict international talent over for this, because I mean, just to be on TV, it's one thing, but if it's homegrown, yeah, that's more incentive for them to have him win it.
Right. I mean, I'd love to see Caitlyn take it, but with her having the experience, and basically she's already got a toe in the door anyhow, just from having the experience with and being a former Divas champion, that I'm not quite sure that she's going to be the one to win. I'd like to see her win, but I just don't know if it's really going to go that way. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, obviously kind of anything goes here, but I just think that, I mean, definitely having the biggest platform for them being on SummerSlam, having the finals there, would probably make it higher profile if they normally don't watch it on the network.
No, the finals are going to be on the Evolution pay-per-view, not SummerSlam.
Evolution? Oh, my apologies.
That's okay. No, that's okay.
Okay. Yeah, the finals will be on
Evolution.
Evolution. Right. So, I mean, there's some more obvious choices, but I mean, it's kind of hard to call these things simply because of. I mean, I think it's more dependent on their WWE developmental status, and obviously, since wrestling is still predetermined, it really depends. I mean, if they could put up, it's a matter of just looking good, and if you look good enough to the brass, they'll find a way to sign you.
Right, essentially this is a giant audition, and,
Right.
you know, how the crowd takes to you and how you perform in the ring, you know, and how you are on the mic is going to go a long way, with the creative team with WWE as to whether you're going to stick around or you're not. So, we'll see how it
Well, I
goes.
mean, there's also certain talents that have a certain familiarity, like all the ones from the States. I mean, they've had some independent experience and everything, and I mean, yeah, I mean, when you look at some of the other NXT developed talents who are well established talent and impact in TNA, they knew who they were. I mean, there are a lot of TNA fans among the crowds that show up to these show up on the
Oh,
programs,
absolutely.
and they definitely know who they are. So by then, I mean, it's a slight advantage that way. But if they can put up like one of those 5-star matches, then yeah, definitely. It's definitely time. Well, it's one of those things where I think they can really make the most of it. So, so I'm sorry, I didn't get. Who did you predict to win?
Well, like I said, I wanted Caitlyn to take it, but I'm kind of leaning more towards, I'm looking at the list here. I had a name picked out. Oh, here we go. I kind of like Toni Storm.
Yeah.
She's from Australia. She kind of looks like a mix between Nikki Bella and Carmella. Cute little blonde, but I kind of, I'm just kind of shooting in the dark here, but I'm gonna pick her.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's my pick as well. I think one of the. Yeah, I mean, Storm is a favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I I don't think I don't think they're gonna like have one of those other returnees like become in the finals. I think it might be maybe a Japanese star that could be in there as well. That could be in the finals. I see some definite potential names there, like Io Shirai and Meiko Satomura.
Yeah, definitely a strong Japanese representation on the roster this year.
Yeah, I mean, you see like how far along Shinsuke Nakamura and Asuka have made the splash, and I mean they're not treated really second rate at all. I mean they're a respectable and not in any way elevation talent, and
Sure.
they're pretty much raised up the bar across the board for men and women in general. So I think given how much of a staple they've become, it's very risky, and with that in mind, if unfortunately the problem is that they need more managers, just to at least kind of help present the character and sells,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know if since they let Paul Heyman speak for Brock, well, not until recently,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, I think it's kind of inexcusable that they will at least have them help out there. Hell, there's plenty of retired wrestlers that have had second lives as managers, and they've immensely helped the locker room, and it's just kind of amazing how we just don't see that anymore. I mean, I don't think Heyman was ever a wrestler, but
No, but I think the only female valet right now, I think, is Selena Vega with Andrade Cien Almas. But she also has a wrestling background too, so and she's a
right.
force to be
I
reckoned with
mean,
in the ring as well.
yeah, and I like to think if there's a retired female superstar, they could have a second life as imagine, hell, before Paige got announced as the SmackDown GM, she was more or less that role following her injury for Absolution, even though they didn't formally announce it until, Daniel Bryan stepped down to become a full-time competitor again. But, I mean, I think it's kind of a real shame that you don't really see that talent. Hell, I mean, there are plenty of former. I mean, I guess a couple names I just kind of surprised that didn't pique interest in following up. I guess Melina. I guess I thought maybe they might have reached out to her, or maybe she's just not interested. Let's see. There was another. Oh, Lisa Marie Vaughn, aka Victoria. Maybe she's just done with herself, but I mean, she had a good run as Victoria back before the women's revolution, but maybe she's just done with the company altogether.
I think that could be the case, and I think we'll see a lot more of that come out with the Evolution pay-per-view, because we had, obviously the rumors swirled back in January as to who was going to participate in that Royal Rumble. They didn't have 30 women on the full-time roster at the time, so they brought back some of the iconic female wrestlers of the past to get back in the ring again and to don the ring gear and kick some ass again, and they did very well with it. But the participants, you gotta figure in who doesn't want to bother with it anymore, who can't do it anymore, who contractually can't do it anymore, who physically can't do it anymore.
Well, personally, when they did that women's Royal Rumble, I was kind of disappointed to not see certain people, like, I don't know, Cyndi Lauper would have been a good thing over there and coming to the ring, but, I mean, I don't know, you can have gimmicks past in the men's one, and maybe they might be too old to move around, but you still get the nostalgic pop, right? I mean, I think there's still, like, about 20 or 30 people who are old enough to remember who she is, right?
That's funny.
Right.
Yeah, I'm a child of the '80s, so yeah, I do still love me.
Yeah. Yeah, and even Wendy Richter. Hey, I'm sure she looked pretty good in her Hall of Fame, but I'm sure she's long moved on.
Yeah.
So anyway,
one of the other things I did
want
to talk about with Mayhem Classic is the debut of the commentary work of Renee Young. Good for her. She's also sitting down with Beth Phoenix, who helped commentate during the Mixed Match Challenge on Facebook Watch last spring. It was Michael Cole, Beth Phoenix, and Renee Young who are going to be doing the commentary for the Mae Young Classic, and I'm really excited to hear Renee behind the table. And she's actually making her Raw debut tomorrow night, so
I'm happy
I
for
think
her.
it's great for Renee to get that pop. I'm a huge
when you
loyal to her Regular Girls podcast as well, so props to her. So
yeah.
Good luck, Renee.
I mean, when you think about how the people that came and went over the years, just on the broadcast portion, I mean, the people that went from backstage interviewer to commentary, there are some quite high respectable names that did that. If just a handful to name off the top of my head. JR, before he became the man behind the booth in W and later on the Attitude Era for Raw, JR did a lot of the behind the scenes interviewing, backstage interviewing process. Michael Cole, before he kind of settled into the SmackDown role as lead commentator and just the kind of the voice of WWE currently. He was a pretty good backstage staple. Coach, some of the most memorable moments with The Rock, Coach being on the mic to interview him and everything, and
I'm really excited for her. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for her, and she does so well hosting the pre-shows for all the pay-per-view events. So like I said, props to Renee, and good luck, girl. Hope you do well.
Yeah. Personally, I hope that there was a female color commentator, because honestly, aside from when they have the heel champion on there, it's it's always kind of the same voices every now and again, and even when they had like the females calling the matches and everything, it's always kind of like, well, professional background, being nice and courteous. It's like, I don't know. I mean, wouldn't you like to hear an Alexa Bliss type of personality kind of rip down on whoever is going up there and just really help building up heat on TV for the person antagonizing? And I mean, it's fun when the wrestler kind of get their comeuppance on the evil color commentator. But I mean, I don't know. Then again, I was a bit annoyed when they gave that role to Michael Cole at one point because it was so annoying.
Well, Corey Graves does a very good job with that these days. Probably him as well.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I give Graves a prop. He's pretty abrasive and everything.
And I love it because he can pull it off.
Yeah. So moving on here, SummerSlam is starting to shape up here. We have our I believe probably our full card on display.
Yeah.
And I guess if you want to call up our predictions here.
Absolutely.
First match, which is a rematch for like the 600th time. Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship.
Is this going to be the main event?
Yep.
Yeah, I really do think it's going to be. And I'm actually okay with it. I hope that putting this as the main event will be a success, especially if they get that damn belt off of Brock. Because they're really playing it up as
you know what I think would happen though? I could think this might happen just simply because, I mean, it could go either way. It could be a clean finish, but I think the future opponent for the Universal Champion, and it would make sense for Roman to go up top, isn't going to win clean. I think interference from the next challenger could get him the belt, and he'll probably face him in the next pay-per-view. But it's something to consider. But if as far as how the match goes, a lot of me kind of hopes it goes like a Goldberg Lesnar match. I mean, which they don't go long at all, because so as long as they don't get too wrapped up into it, you can get a decent match if it's like less than a Raw or around a match, not like 15, 20 minutes or anything like that. Because I mean, they gotta tread careful here, or else, do you really want to hear thousands of fans chant the most random things during your main event? I mean, they've known that they've done that so many times. So it would be at WWE's best interest to keep the match short.
Yes, I agree on that one. Yeah, and it breaks my heart when that happens. But lately, with them basically bashing Brock all over Raw television, I've noticed a lot less boos these past couple of weeks for Roman Reigns, and I'm kind of hoping that will stay steady, but it's WWE fans, and they get polarizing very fast. So, we'll see. I do see this time that Roman's going to take it.
Yeah, finally. I mean, it's kind of funny that they're booking him possibly as the winner, whereas Brock didn't really look strong at all in all those matches against Goldberg, because I think except for the last match, I think they gave him a second victory, but Goldberg still has the record over Brock as far as like championship matches and victories overall. But I mean, I guess because Goldberg was officially retiring from the company, then yeah, I mean, here's the belt, waiting for the absolute last possible day to do it. But yeah, I think I kind of, excuse me, I think I kind of went on to this match way too long. I think 10 seconds is way too long for talking about this rematch. But next matchup, we'll have the Raw Women's Champion up for grabs between Alexa Bliss versus Ronda Rousey. So, I think it could easily go. See, they got to be careful with this as well because um, they could easily make it a squash match for Rousey, but at the same time, you don't want to kill everything that is Alexa Bliss, even though they kind of put her in a squash match against Nia Jax the first time around WrestleMania. I really think that, you know, if she can get the crowd to really, really hate and despise her and just run away for most of the match and just do the sneak attack, just kind of like be really like calculating, weaselly, and I mean not the point where it bores the fans, but like just celebrate every time to get an attack going because doing the, I mean going away I can really see this going on effectively because I mean yeah we all want to see Alexa get her comeuppance and yeah it's easy to see that Ronda will be the champion that quickly, but honestly they really need to have the chase going on with here and it'd be it would kind of be a disservice to have Ronda win that quickly of the belt.
I have to agree. Yeah, actually, with everything you said, that they giving Ronda a title this fast, I think would be very discouraging. Not that Ronda's not talented. She is a badass woman, but she needs to earn it. She needs to pay her dues here for a little while longer, I think. But I think it's a little too soon for her to get a belt, so I'm going Bliss on this one.
Yeah. I think Bliss escapes with the skin of her teeth, and she outsmarts Raw to victory.
Mm-hmm.
So next up match, which is the other WWE title for the men's, in AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe, which ever since the two went over to WWE from Impact, I think a lot of fans were kind of looking forward to this match, and obviously if they followed them from Ring of Honor as well, this would also be intensifying. So this is probably like the most anticipated match on the card for those familiar with both backgrounds. So, I mean, how do you think this is going to go down? Do you think it's going to be one of those things where it's just every bit the 5-star quality and not the way it turned out between, say, like Ziggler and Rollins?
I really hope the Samoa Joe AJ Styles match is a lot better than the feud that AJ Styles had with Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm really looking forward to this match. I think it's going to be the best match of the night. I'm knocking on wood hoping. Unfortunately, I doubt it's like we said about the Brock versus Reigns. It's not going to be the main event, and it probably should be. But you know Vince, and if they're not his homegrown guys, he's not going to put them on the main event. So. Just saying.
Well, CM Punk wasn't his homegrown guy either, but he gave him the belt for, quite a long time.
That's
so,
true.
I mean, the fact that he's let AJ Styles keep the WWE Championship for as long as he has, I mean, he's definitely shown confidence that he can put the brand, SmackDown brand on his back. And, I mean, if he still holds the belt by the time the Fox deal takes effect, then yeah, I mean, it's all the more money for Vince.
And AJ is the cover man of 2K19. So I'm not sure they're ready to pull that belt off of him. Even just as a marketing standpoint. I'm gonna go AJ Styles on this one.
Yeah, I think AJ wins by barely the skin of his teeth, and I really do think that they might just trade titles into the third match. They may have this on a third pay-per-view, but I mean, that's what I wish and versus what will actually happen. Didn't exactly happen the way I imagined it for him and Shinsuke Nakamura. So hey, anything goes.
Yeah.
So next match we have the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match between the Bludgeon Brothers and the New Day. I mean, the New Day, they still can put on a great match, but they honestly don't really need the belt, and I think they'll give them a good match, and I think the Bludgeon Brothers retain them.
Yeah, I have to agree. The New Day can stand up on their own. They don't need to have a title around their waist in order to get over with the crowd. Their gimmick has been going for how many years now, and they have not lost interest in anybody. So, I mean, they're one of the most popular factions in this company, so they don't need the win. Yeah, I'm with you. The Legend Brothers are going to take this one too.
Okay. Next up, we have Braun Strowman versus Kevin Owens for Strowman's briefcase for his Money in the Bank contract. Now, they did make an effort to make Kevin Owens competent in this one, and he did eke out the victory against him last time they faced. So, I mean, there is a real possibility that, it could go either way. I mean, what do you think? Do you think, obviously Braun's the heavy favorite here, but do you think KO maybe squeaks by somehow?
I don't know, because I don't know that they've ever put a stipulation like this on a match, whether you can change hands on the Money in the Bank contract. Have they?
I really haven't looked into it.
I can't think of any, at least not in recent history. That's definitely something I think I'm going to research that one, because I'm kind of curious. I think it would be funny for Kevin to win it. Just to have that move of the briefcase from one player to another, I think would be a really interesting twist to the story, and I think it would be a fun storyline to play out. So, I'm actually gonna say Kevin on this one.
Okay. Yeah, I think Kevin might eke out in this one because, I mean, they need to, right now Braun is, to the moon right now, and I think just for him to kind of have a setback, I think it should happen. I mean, and they've de-pushed him. They de-pushed Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn as much as they possibly could against him, even if it's for comedic value. I mean, they're just too talented to just stay down like that. They need to. I think they need the victory with more. So next up, we have a rematch from Money in the Bank, or is it? Yeah. So Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins for the Intercontinental belt.
And I'm so glad they're getting their rematch. Like I said, I was at Extreme.
Not Iron Man match.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, I was at Extreme Rules, and those guys deserve better.
Rules,
yeah, those guys deserve better. So I'm really, really happy they're going to get their rematch. I think Seth Rollins might actually get this belt back. I know there's just something makes me think that they're going to move that title off of Dolph again. I mean, Dolph he's playing a really great slime ball too. I mean, my husband actually made this comparison, and it's a really good comparison. That Dolph and Drew right now are Shawn Michaels and Kevin Nash, and I kind of like what they're doing with these guys. But I do think I'd rather see them as a pair rather than just the one guy carrying a belt over his shoulder. So I kind of would like to see Seth take this one. I kind of think that might be how it goes, but we'll see.
Yeah. I could see a Seth Rollins victory, and I mean, it's a toss-up for me because you both can benefit and really won't be hurt by losing. Dolph won't be hurt by losing it.
No,
so,
and I think that I hope for another great match out of the two of them because they are both so damn fun to watch. So I'm looking forward to them.
So next up, a triple threat match for the SmackDown Women's Championship between Carmella, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte. Now, Charlotte hasn't faced Carmella in some time. Since she dropped the belt and then lost in the rematch, but we enter Becky Lynch into the fold, who hasn't had the greatest of luck, but they started getting her to win again. So I mean that little dynamic, and we have no James Ellsworth, to be the X Factor. Who do you think comes out on top? I mean, I could easily see Carmella retaining here because I could see Becky or Carmella maybe come out on this because I think both might need the belt more. Charlotte, she's talented enough and her cred doesn't really lose out in not losing it. But then again, it's a really long way for her to catch up to her old man to be multiple-time champion.
Yeah, no, I agree. I have a feeling that Carmella's gonna win this, but it's gonna be because the other two are going to get distracted. They're trying to not attack each other because, they're sipping tea with their pinkies in the air, they're best friends. So, I think Carmella is going to win this, but I think it's going to be, there's going to be a twist somewhere that she's going to screw the two of them. Now, my next thought is, since the cards are pretty much set, and this is what we're making our predictions off of, but there's still a SmackDown between now and then. What are the chances they throw Asuka in the midst of this and make this a fatal 4-way?
I think it's possible. I mean, they randomly threw her and Carmella together, and they have done the matches, and I mean they did a good job, decent job, like playing off of Asuka's rage, and now that she took it all out on poor James.
Yeah.
I could see him putting her, making her a last minute addition, but this far set in, I don't know. I mean, but given how well she's been putting up matches, I'm really surprised that she hasn't been booked for this. And yeah, if there was any match she would be in, I would figure it'd be this one, because not only does she have another shot at Carmella, but we kind of get that follow-up match that we never got a rematch from WrestleMania with her and Charlotte.
True.
So,
yeah, definitely.
I mean, I think it's just kind of a travesty that it hasn't been made official, but if they put it as a surprise, then great. It'll be a welcome surprise, but yeah, kind of disappointed that they didn't throw ice in there yet.
We'll wait and see what happens on Tuesday, I guess.
Yeah. Next up, we have the 205 Live guys for the Cruiserweight Championship. Cedric Alexander versus Drew Gulak. What do you think could come up?
You know what? I haven't paid 100% attention to 205 Live. I will readily admit. But I am familiar with both of these guys. And, I kind of like Drew Gulak. I think he's super talented. He's super good in the ring. Not that Cedric Alexander isn't. I have a feeling this could be a good match. I'm really hoping it doesn't end up on the pre-show, which I kind of have this gut feeling that's where it's going to go.
I think it's like the most likely. I mean, if it's not that, I mean,
we already had the other pre-show match we haven't discussed yet, but
right.
But I'd like to see them give the 205 guys a little more of a push, because the lighter guys, they're
either the pre-show opening match or they're the first match of the card.
Okay.
Well, that's my thought on that. But I think I'll see. I think the champion will retain on this. I mean, just kind of a toss up here. Both men are very talented, but I just don't see the title changing hands at this moment.
Okay.
Next up, another cop out from Extreme Rules and getting another rematch. Shinsuke Nakamura in a role reversal. The champion versus Jeff Hardy for the United States Championship.
I hope this match lasts longer than the one at Extreme Rules, because that was about 15 seconds and a low blow, and that was it.
I swear I might chuck something at the TV if Shinsuke wins a low blow again, or just throw something in.
I don't want to blink and this match be over again. So, because again, both of these guys, they're high-flying guys. They're damn fun to watch, and I really would like to see these two really actually grapple with each other. And if Shinsuke is going to keep doing the cheap crap, whatever.
I mean, I kind of feel bad in the sense that, I mean, people still cheer him. Like, he can't be like a real heel because, unfortunately, his mic skills aren't really. He's not going to be like Randy Orton or Triple H on the mic at all. I mean, if anything, like the whole thing about not speaking English made him even more popular because, I mean, it's just
he's just toying with everybody and he waited up.
Exactly. He's playful, and that's what people love about him. But hopefully the better matches of the card. But WWE booking, they'll all throw it away in a moment.
Exactly. So I'm going to go Jeff Hardy on this one.
I think Shinsuke retains on this
Okay.
one. Simply because Hardy's been there, done that, and I mean, honestly, he doesn't really need the belt at all at this point. And he's just kind of, I mean, even though Shinsuke is kind of been older as well and kind of around the same age as AJ Styles, I think that to kind of establish credibility as a champion, they need to hold on to the belt a little bit longer.
True.
So I'm going to say Shinsuke retains on this.
Okay.
So next up we have Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin. Nothing on the line here, just really fun matchup to be. So who do you think comes out on top? My money goes to Finn.
Oh, yeah, my money's going on Finn, too. Another rehash from Extreme Rules. The match was kind of Extreme Rules, and I'm kind of expecting another from this, too.
Did you expect so many rematches from Extreme Rules on this card?
Not really. For this being one of the big four, no. I was actually very surprised at how many rematches we have from the last smaller pay-per-view trickling over into one of the big four.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think maybe something happened in Pittsburgh and, like, Vince would be like, I had a bad experience at a hotel, so I'm going to book it this way and piss everyone off there. That's what they get for giving me crappy service.
Yeah, Lord knows. Lord knows the way Vince thinks. So.
Yeah, I don't want to feed any conspiracy theories already out there. I don't want to, like, contribute to the many, many different things out there.
True.
Alright, so, yeah, not much to talk about here, but just hoping for a great match, and honestly, that's probably like the other match I think might be the potential pre-show match. Next up is Daniel Bryan versus The Miz, and this rivalry's become pretty intense between the two. And of course now The Miz having broken up his Miztourage and just kind of more of a one-on-one deal. And I mean, how do you think this comes out? I think Bryan maintains his momentum.
I think they're going to give Daniel Bryan the win on this one. Yeah, he's definitely on an upswing. And he's, quote unquote the better man or whatever, but, The Miz doesn't need the Miztourage. He is so charismatic by himself that he really doesn't need anybody following him around. He doesn't need a lot of puppies.
Well, I mean, it's not like Flair needed the win, but it still made him badass and
true,
like kind of that much harder to deal with.
True. Yeah, but yeah, I see Daniel winning this one. I think he's on an upswing right now, and I think they're going to keep that swing going, especially behind the scenes work that I believe his contract's coming up sometime soon, where I think that they're going to do things to make him look good, to make him stick around.
Yeah.
And I hope they do.
And the final match in the card, which looking at this chart, and we're talking about what could be the pre-match here, and they've already signified which one it will be. It's this one. Rusev and Lana versus Andrade Almas and Zelina Vega in a mixed tag team match. Hey, how do you like to be Rusev when you just went from being a main event or, one of the top matches of the card? Yeah. Now you're just opening up for the pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's kind of a crappy place for Rusev to be. I mean, Andrade Almas he's done a couple of pre-show matches, and that's kind of where he's lingered since being called up, and that's okay, for somebody who's just being called up. But for Rusev, for him doing the pre-show match, and he did very well with Lana with the mixed tag during the mixed match challenge back in the spring. But this match is kind of I have, however, been impressed with Andrade Almas as of late. I wasn't exactly keen on him coming up when he did. But he had a match against AJ Styles a couple weeks ago on SmackDown that was phenomenal, and I'll say it. He was actually really good, and he impressed me. So I'm kind of hoping this turns into a good match. It's an interesting rivalry storyline that they've had play out on SmackDown over the past few weeks. I have a feeling that they're going to give the win to Almas and Vega, and I have a feeling that chances are
they definitely need it more.
Yeah,
so.
Aiden English is, Lord knows if he's going to get involved. So, and if he does, is he going to cause one or the other to take the win? So, Yeah, I do see Almas and Vega taking this one.
Quite a bit to Condry, huh?
Tranquilo.
Alright, well, do you have any final thoughts that you want to bring up today?
No, I'm looking forward to SummerSlam. It's always a great event. The card is really solid. We're having a couple of rematches from the last pay from Extreme Rules, but you know what, that's okay. But there are some really matches that I'm really looking forward to, and I'm hoping for a good night. And my review will be up and my recap and review will be up on Monkeys Fighting Robots after the event.
Alright, well, thank you for joining us. Again, as Kimberly said, you can check us out on monkeysfightingrobots.com and check us out on social media, Facebook and Twitter. You guys have a wonderful day.
Instagram, too. Yeah. Thanks.